it, this amazing view. The Hollywood sign. It's cool.
All right. Well, Thomasin McKenzie, you are a part of this incredible movie, Leave No Trace. And the film, I keep wanting to go back to watch it because it's very powerful and resonates on several different levels. When you first read the script, what was it that first grabbed you about it?
First of all, I really loved that it was a story about a dad and a daughter. That kind of is the first thing that jumped out at me when I read the script, that there was one scene where they mentioned the mother and that was it. And I loved that the fact that the mother wasn't there. I loved that that wasn't the focus. The focus was the relationship between the dad and the daughter, because it really is a love story between a dad and a daughter. And I loved that about it. I also really love that it's really a film about the goodness in people. The goodness, sorry. I hope whoever's watching this can understand my New Zealand accent. But there's no evil, bad guy, antagonist. There's no one. It's a group of people trying to do what they think is best. And I really loved that about it too. Yeah, those were the two things that really jumped out at me when I read the script for the first time.
And the setting of the film is mostly, a large portion of it takes place out in the wilderness in the Pacific Northwest. And I heard for your audition tape, when you sent in your audition, you used you got props, you got a real rabbit to do the rabbit scene. What kind of made you want to attack it in that way?
Well, I think we just had a lot of fun with that audition. I loved the audition and I loved the script so much that I did the audition. My mum helped me out, and also a lady called Lauren Taylor helped me out to film it and stuff. And we loved it, and we wanted to have fun, and we wanted it to be unique and something that would we wanted to do it so that it would be apart from the other auditions, that there was something about it maybe that Debra would watch and go, oh, that's different. And I don't know, hopefully she liked it, which I guess she did because they go cast. But we went down. In one of the scenes that I had to do for the recall, there was a rabbit, and I don't have a rabbit, but my little sister's best friend Betsy, she had a rabbit called Coco. So we walked down the street to their house and did the scene with Coco the rabbit. I also filmed a kind of weird version of a self-portrait where I went out on a walk through the native New Zealand bush, and I was holding a GoPro in my mouth that one of my best friends had lent me. And you can see my dog in the background of the video, and we're just running through the bush. And I sent that through as well because it's a film where nature plays a really big part of it. Yeah, we just had fun with the audition and made it special. Yeah.
And clearly it worked. You know, your character Tom certainly doesn't have a GoPro and doesn't have any technology or social media. They're all living out there with these survivalist skills, really basic living quarters and skills. Was it difficult to get into the headspace of someone who, you know, you've grown up with social media and technology constantly? Was it difficult to strip that away?
I think that's a good question. I've never been asked that before. It was difficult, and how we went about that was, you know, the aspect of things was that Debra had an idea that maybe I didn't use my phone for all of the rehearsal period. And then we took that idea further, and I didn't use my phone except for maybe like half an hour some days for the entire shoot. So I was just kind of, I took a break from my phone, and as a way to, just try to experience Tom's life better, because she didn't have any access to social media at all.
Yeah,
and it was hard. And because I was I live in New Zealand and I was filming in America, so without having limited access to my phone. I wasn't able to call my family whenever I wanted to. I wasn't able to talk to my friends. So it was hard, but it worked. It really worked, and it made me, now I'm trying to go on my phone less because of that. But it's hard.
Of course. And Debra Granik, the director, she doesn't make movies all that often. There's pretty big gaps between them. They all have this, I would say, kind of naturalistic element to them. Often her style is very naturalistic. Did she give you anything in that vein? Was there anything that she offered you about the character, like an insight that was very helpful to you?
I'm not sure anything was specifically said along those lines, but Debra and I worked really closely together. We really collaborated with each other and went through the script and cut out a lot of the dialogue or changed some of the words, or, we really talked about it, and we just had a lot of fun doing it together. And so there wasn't anything specific that she said about it, but we could just understand. There was just a non-verbal communication. Wait, I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Anyway,
right.
We just understood that was the vibe of the film.
Yeah.
Of course, but once I met her, I understood that.
That's cool. I talked to your co-star, Ben Foster, a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about the ways that you trained in survivalist skills to live outdoors, and he was actually able to teach you some of those as a sort of pseudo rehearsal process. What was that like for you to experience that with your co-star that you had to be out there with?
It was great. We were learning. I think that's something that really helped with the chemistry between Ben and I, is that we were learning so many new things together. And Ben has done a lot of movies where he's had to work, he's worked with guns, so he had the knowledge of what it would be like being in a war, or he was able to, relate. He had the knowledge to play a veteran. But I'm learning a lot about making fires and collecting water and being camouflaged and listening to bird language. We were learning so much together, which I think really helped with the relationship between us, because we kind of started on the same level. But Ben did also teach me a lot of things. He was the first one to arrive at the wilderness survivalist training. He got taught how to build a hut by Nicole and by Ellen, the survivalists. And then once I arrived to the training, he taught me. I got to test out his hut, and he told me how he did it and stuff. So yeah.
That's a great process. And not only are you sort of out there with these survivalist skills, you're in a setting where you don't have your phone. It's all very new, and you're also with an actor who is a really experienced, fantastic actor who has a lot of films under his belt. Was there anything that you guys did to sort of like connect or get on the same level other than the survivalist skills?
We did a couple exercises. One of them was called Hug to Connect, where this is a technique my mum uses, where we just hugged each other for a minute, which sounds really awkward, but we just stood there in each other's arms, and at first there was tension, and then by the end of it, there was a different kind of energy between us, and we just, felt really comfortable with each other in each other's space. And our breathing got into sync while we were hugging each other. I could hear his heartbeat. So we did that to help with the connection and help with the chemistry. We also did something called a hongi, which is a Māori greeting. Māori are the native indigenous people of New Zealand. We touch noses and foreheads, and it's about sharing breath. So we did that as well as another way to connect with each other. Yeah.
Well,
and they're really intimate exercises.
Yeah.
but it really worked because it meant that I wasn't embarrassed to hold his hand or touch the arm hairs on his arm or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, that definitely resonated on screen. And you mentioned your mom, Miranda Harcourt, and you come from a very large acting family or film family in New Zealand. Did they impart any wisdom other than that? Did they give you any advice to go off and shoot this in America?
They have given me a lot of advice throughout my whole life. But I've learned so much from them just by watching them do their jobs and, yeah, just seeing their kind of techniques and absorbing it all, kind of learning through osmosis. I went, well, when I was, I don't know how old I would have been, maybe 10 or something. My mum and dad were touring a play that they were doing. And so me and my siblings toured with them. And again, just watching them do their thing, I learned a lot. So a lot of what I've learned from them again has been non-verbal. It hasn't, haven't told me be natural or anything like that. It was just from, yeah, watching them. But I think one of the, and they always remind me to stay grounded and to stay myself, and yeah, just to be humble and enjoy it.
Did growing up around all that, does that mean you always wanted to be an actor, being around that?
No, not at all. Yeah, I just, because I've been surrounded by it so much, at first I was just not that keen on it. I know I wasn't always passionate about acting. I didn't think I wanted to make a career out of it. I thought it was just putting on a performance and then that was it. I didn't realize that through acting you can communicate really important themes or ideas, you can tell important stories, you can make a difference. And entertainment is such an important, in the film industry, entertainment is such an important part of life. During, I can't remember if it was, I think it was World War One, people, and probably World War Two as well, people used movies and comics and stuff as an escape. And so, it's, yeah, I've always, now I look at entertainment as just being such an important thing in a way where you can teach people things and learn things yourself. But yeah, I wasn't always into acting, but after I did a really cool project when I was 13 that told a really important New Zealand story, that's when I got into it and started loving it. And I'm my happiest when I'm acting, and yeah.
That reminds me, because you said something earlier about how the film for you is largely about the goodness in people. And one of the things that really surprised me and struck me was it kind of upends the viewer's expectations of what is necessary in life and what makes people happy. So I'm curious to know, like, did it change your perception of people at all to go through that process?
I think so. I think it did, because people who were watching Leave No Trace and hadn't read the script, or I guess a lot of people have told me that they thought something, someone was going to come in and just be really horrible. So the audience thought that there was going to be a bad guy eventually, but there wasn't. And I think that is an important reminder to people that, yes, there's a lot of negativity in this world, but there's also a lot of goodness in this world. And it's just important to remember that. And that has changed my view, I don't know, changed how I see people, I think, because now I try to see the goodness in people. When, I don't know, if someone is rude to me or something, or I go, well, maybe they're having a bad day. Like, it's, yeah. First and foremost, it's important to look at someone and try see what, yeah, their goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. This performance has recently caught on with a lot of people are responding to it. You won the National Board of Review Award for Breakthrough Performance, and you're a Gotham nominee and an Independent Spirit nominee. What does it mean for you to have gone through this, experience out there in the woods with Ben Foster, and then all this time later gets recognized?
I don't even know how to put it into words. I just, throughout this whole, publicity and press, throughout that whole process, the whole time I've been really honored that people are reacting to Leave No Trace like this, and I feel really empowered and excited that I'm able to make people feel things, make people, it's such a weird idea that I made someone cry or I made someone laugh, and like not just someone, but big groups of people. So yeah, just the whole response has been incredibly exciting and really surreal. Yeah, yeah, amazing.
Well, as we wrap up, I wanted to ask about one particular scene, because it's a scene that made me cry. That last scene between you and Ben Foster, when you really just have to say goodbye without ever saying much in the scene. I asked him about it, and I wanted to get your view on it as well, of what that process was like, because you shot the whole film in order, I heard, and then you have to go through this thing where you leave the person that you've gone on this journey with. So what was that day like for you?
Oh, it was a really stressful day. I think that was the only day on set during filming where I really was really nervous and scared, and I wasn't in a very good mood, to be honest. Because we did film it in order and it became really real, and I really felt like I was living Tom, and I felt really connected to her, and the idea of her having to say goodbye to her dad and me, and I was thinking about what if I had to say goodbye to my dad. It's really painful. So yeah, it was a really hard scene to film, but I don't know, I guess it's a really important part of the film. It's an empowering part for Tom as well, because at that moment she's taking the lead, and she's saying, look, I want to go out and live my own life, and I accept if you can't be there with me on that journey. But yeah, I don't know, and it was also really really hard, because it was saying goodbye to Ben as well, and or not bye to him, but you know what I mean. And I love working with Ben, so yeah.
Well, it's certainly ingrained in my mind for a long time, and it's a great way to send that film off. And thank you so much for sitting here with me talking today, and I hope your luck on this award season continues.
Thank you so much. Thank you for wanting to talk to me in the first place. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too.